Hello everybody, down here this time at the Rhombus Community Centre in Atchison Avenue, and we're going to have a go at making some homemade carbon filters. Now we have a bunch of ingredients for this, and we'll just wave those up at the camera for you. First one, a bit of activated charcoal. Second one, a bit of duct tape. Third one, a bit of fiberglass something. Don't know exactly what that is, but there'll be more about that shortly. We're just getting set up. Cam's gone off to find us a heat pump. Back in a second. Okay, just in the break there, while we're waiting for the heat pump to turn up, which will be just a few seconds. This is Rhombus. It's at 21 Atchison. Again, this is Rhombus. It's at 21 Atchison, and it's right next to the Shirley Community Centre Cafe and Hub there on Atchison Avenue. And while I'm thinking about it, I'd just like to mention the big white van. The big white van. More about that in a later episode. Okay folks, this is a brand new heat pump, and what you're looking at is what would normally be on the wall, and we'll just move around the back here to where you can see the air inlet, where the air is sucked in to the heat pump from the room, and we're about to measure that. Okay, so my painty friend here is just pointing out what we're going to measure, about 2 centimetres to each side of the space, the width of the air intake. Okay, same thing again, we're going to measure the height or length or width, however you want to look at it, but basically we're making something that's going to be a little bit bigger than that air intake. Okay folks, so this same theory that you're about to see could also be done with an HRV or a DVS, and you could put it on the duct on the output side in the room, so you don't have to climb into the ceiling to actually do this. Okay, so this is a bit of fiberglass security door mesh that you can get from Bunnings. This stuff is available from the pet shop on Ferry Road. Pet World, or most pet shops that sell fish products or Aqua One products, which is a very common fish product, will have this. Right, so now we're measuring out our piece of material. We already know that this piece of material is the right width, so we're just working out the length of it and making a couple of cuts. Now, a quick segue about that DVS or HRV. If you do one outlet, you're obviously going to have to be doing the other outlets as well. So probably the inlet is the better option, because of course if you restrict the flow on one outlet, the air will push out the other outlets. And slice. Okay, so the next step, folks, is we're going to get some gaffer tape and effectively turn this into a little bag. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering by now what this process is actually costing. So far, about 30 metres of that netting is about $6, and those canisters of charcoal are worth about $40, which is considerably less than what I spent on those 3M charcoal filters for my painting mask a little bit earlier in the day. Okay, so now a little bit of a fiddly bit, putting the tape on the mesh, bringing it together to create an open-ended bag. Okay, so trimming the ends off now, as you can see, we've now got an open-ended bag at one end. Now for the fun bit, folks, just like at play school, we fill up the bag with the activated charcoal.
Not tight enough there.
Right, so the last step is pretty obvious. Now we've got the charcoal inside the bag, we're going to tape off the end of the bag. Right, so the next obvious question is how long is this going to last? And with that amount of charcoal, we're expecting 2 to 3 months, which will pretty much see us through the worst of the hailstorm that's coming at us. The last step is pretty obvious. You're just going to even out the charcoal so it's through the bag, and then we can place it on the top of the heat pump, turn the heat pump on, and the air gets drawn through the charcoal, which will remove the particulates and the stench, hopefully, from the air. So now we're just adding a bit more tape to the edges just to make sure that the baggie doesn't come open, because the last thing you want in your lounge probably is this lot flying all over the floor. Though if you do that, it won't kill you. You just grab the vacuum cleaner and your vacuum cleaner suddenly becomes a filter. A filter, of course, because you're going to be vacuuming all that little black charcoal up off the floor. Okay, the next step with this that we're probably not going to do right here and now, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of just fine dust that's coming out of this. So you want to give it a bit of a shake and get that fine dust out before you go sticking it on the top of your heat pump. There you go, you can see the fine dust still sitting on the table. Now we're going to show you what you do with it. The final step is to stick your new charcoal filter on the top of your heat pump and then tape it in place with a bit of gaffer tape. Right, now we're using a bit of gaffer tape here to stick this to the heat pump. Obviously to make the bag, to put the bag together, you've got to use gaffer tape, but if you want to make it easy to remove from the heat pump, then a bit of the blue or green painter's tape is slightly more ideal. So folks, that in a nutshell is how to create a homemade charcoal filter that you can sit on top of your heat pump, and the charcoal of course absorbs the nasty smells in the air and will help to make the air cleaner. Have a great time building your own version. Bye now.